The room that remembered him. No one noticed Arjun move into the building, and that was exactly how he wanted it. The apartment was on the fourth floor of an old structure that stood between two newer towers, like a forgotten thought squeezed between louder ideals. The paint on the walls was tired. The stairs creaked as if they wanted to complain but no longer had the energy. Most people avoided this building. It had a reputation, not for ghosts, not for crimes, but for something harder to explain. People said it made you remember things you wanted to forget. Arjun was 39 when he moved in. He told the landlord he was 40. It felt easier to round it up, like closing a chapter neatly. His hair had started to thin, his face carried lines that came not from age but from thinking too much at night. He worked as an archivist for a private firm, organizing old letters, recordings, documents, other people's memories. He was very good at it. He had learned how to keep emotions in boxes. The room he rented was small. One window, one fan, one bed, a table that wobbled slightly if you leaned on it too hard. It smelled faintly of dust and something else Arjun could not name. Not bad, just old. On the first night, he slept deeply. On the second night, he dreamed of a corridor with many doors. All of them were closed. At the end of the corridor was a single light that flickered, as if unsure whether it should exist. He woke up sweating, his heart racing, but by morning the dream had faded like most dreams do. By the end of the first week, Arjun noticed something strange. The room was changing. Not in obvious ways. The walls stayed the same color. The furniture did not move. But small things felt, adjusted. The chair was slightly closer to the table than he remembered. The fan seemed louder at night. The mirror reflected his face a fraction of a second slower than it should have. He blamed tiredness. One evening, while sorting old documents at work, Arjun found a handwritten letter mixed into a box that was not supposed to contain personal items. The paper was yellow, the ink faded. The letter was addressed to someone named A. Arjun froze. He had not seen that handwriting in almost 15 years. It was hers. He read the letter standing up, his hands trembling. It spoke of waiting, of silence, of unanswered messages, of someone slowly disappearing without saying goodbye. Arjun put the letter back into the box, his chest tight. There was no logical reason for that letter to be there. The company dealt with corporate archives, not personal stories like this. That night, when he returned to his room, the light was already on. He was sure he had turned it off. He stood in the doorway for a long moment, listening. The room was silent. He stepped inside and turned the light off again. As he did, he heard a soft sound. A breath. Not his own. Dot. He spun around. The room was empty. Arjun laughed under his breath, a dry, forced sound. You are tired, he told himself. That's all. He did not sleep much that night. From that point on, the room began to test him. It started gently. A book he owned but did not remember bringing with him appeared on the table. It was a poetry collection he had loved in his 20s. Inside, certain lines were underlined in pencil. He recognized his own handwriting. A song played softly from his phone one night, even though the phone was locked. It was a song he had once shared with someone, a song that ended with a promise neither of them kept. The mirror began to show him not as he was, but as he had been. Some mornings, his reflection looked younger. Some nights, older. Sometimes, the reflection did not blink when he did. Still, Arjun stayed. He had always been good at staying when things became uncomfortable. 2 weeks after moving in, he met Meera. She lived in the same building, 2 floors below. She looked to be in her early 40s, though her eyes suggested she had lived several lives already. She spoke softly, but there was nothing weak about her voice. They met on the stairs during a power cut. You're new, she said, more like a statement than a question. Yes, Arjun replied. She smiled faintly. This place has a way of finding the right people. What does that mean? He asked. She looked at him carefully. You'll understand. Or you won't. Both are possible. They began talking after that. Not every day, but often enough. Sometimes on the stairs, sometimes near the building's entrance, where the air felt less heavy. One night, she asked him directly, Do you hear things in your room? Arjun hesitated. Yes, he admitted. Do you see things? Yes. She nodded. Good. Then it's started. What has? He asked. Meera sighed. The remembering. She told him she had moved into the building 6 years earlier, after a divorce that ended not with shouting, but with silence. Her husband had simply stopped explaining himself. Stopped answering questions. Stopped being present. This building doesn't like silence, she said. It fills it. Is it dangerous? Arjun asked. Meera thought for a moment. Only if you keep lying to yourself. That night, the room did not let Arjun rest. The fan stopped suddenly at exactly 2:17 a.m. The temperature dropped. The window began to tap softly, though there was no wind. Then the voice came. It was not loud. It did not echo. It sounded as if it came from inside his own head, but slightly to the left. Why didn't you answer? Arjun sat up, his heart pounding. Who's there? The room felt closer, tighter, as if the walls had leaned in. You always said you needed time, the voice continued. How much time did you take? Arjun pressed his hands against his ears. Stop, he whispered. But the room did not stop. Memories flooded him. Missed calls. Unread messages. A final email he never opened because he was afraid of what it might ask of him. He had told himself stories for years. That leaving was kinder. That silence was safer. That disappearing hurt less than saying goodbye. The room did not agree. The next morning, there was a new object on his table. A phone. Not his phone. An older model. Scratched. Cracked screen. It was ringing. Arjun stared at it, frozen. The ringing stopped. A message appeared on the screen. I waited. Arjun picked up the phone with shaking hands. The contact name was just one letter. He ran out of the room. He did not go to work that day. He sat with Meera on the stairs, telling her everything. The letters, the voice, the phone. She listened without interrupting. This place doesn't create memories, she said finally. It gives them weight. What does it want from me? Arjun asked. Meera looked tired. The same thing it wants from everyone. What? An ending. That evening, Arjun tried to pack his bags. The zipper broke. The door would not open. The window would not unlock. The room had decided he was not done. At midnight, the lights went out. The phone on the table rang. Arjun answered. I didn't know how to stay, he said before the voice could speak. I was scared. I thought leaving quietly was better than staying and failing. There was silence. Then the voice spoke, not angry, not sad, just honest. You chose not to choose. That was still a choice. Tears ran down Arjun's face. He had not cried like this in years. He spoke until his throat hurt. He apologized. He admitted what he had never said out loud. He named his fears. He named his regret. The room listened. When the call ended, the phone dissolved into dust. The air felt lighter. The next morning, Arjun woke up to sunlight pouring through the window. The fan worked normally. The mirror reflected him exactly as he was. The room was quiet, not empty, just at peace. A week later, Arjun moved out. So did Meera, a month after that. The building still stands. People still avoid it. Because some rooms don't trap you. They wait. They remember. And they refuse to let you forget what you owe yourself. The truth, spoken at last.